Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our TNA show for the week. My name is George Coles and unfortunately my tag team partner Gary Rhodes couldn't be here due to prior agreements. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing of the night, we have Bully Ray coming out, talking about his win from the Slammiversary pay-per-view, brings out Jeff Hardy who's returning, brings out Hulk Hogan who sets up a ladder match for later in the night, with the stipulation being if you get to the top of the ladder, you get to use a hammer, which Aces and Eights has been using as their default weapon. I like the idea. I like this with the two guys' history in ladder matches. It gives it some intrigue. Jeff Hardy, for better or worse, has been considered one of the masters of the match. And all you need to do is look at the TLC matches to see what Bully Ray Bubba Ray can do with him. Nice opener, sets the tone for the show, keeps us interested. Next we have the first match of the night, a Bound for Glory qualifying match, Bound for Glory series qualifying match. We have Hernandez versus Chavo Guerrero. Now before the match, Chavo refuses to shake his hand, saying, "I taught you a lot, but I didn't teach you everything." They have a decent little match. I was actually quite impressed with the match they put in. If you guys watch this show regularly, me and both Gary are kind of lukewarm on Chavo and Hernandez at best. I thought them against each other has been way better than anything they've done as a team. After the match, Hernandez gets the win. He goes to shake his hand again. Chavo gives him a fist bump. Kind of shows a little bit of signs of frustration. So maybe we're seeing the seeds being planted for a Chavo Guerrero heel turn. Who knows? Up next we have Devon coming out and pretty much demanding that Abyss come out and give him what's rightfully his, the TV title, since he didn't lose it in a sanctioned match. Well, instead of Abyss we get Joseph Park, Abyss's brother. And Joseph comes out, tells him he's not afraid of him, yada yada yada. Joseph ends up getting ran into the pole, starts to look like Abyss. By that time, Devon's already out. Devon and Doc go looking for Abyss in the back. They eventually find him. He attacks them both, and then walks away with the TV championship. Decent little segment here. I'm really waiting for the reveal to show that Park and Abyss are the same guy, not brothers. That'll be what keeps me interested. I'm kind of waning on the interest in Joseph Park. I did like him as a nice comedy foil. The time has come now. Abyss is back. Let's get rid of a Park, or let's merge him into one character. Let's stop pretending they're two different people. Only my opinion. Next we have another Bound for Glory series qualifying match, Robbie E versus Samoa Joe. Before the match, Robbie E talks about him being the MVP of last year's Bound for Glory, which if you remember, he only won one match and it was by countout against Jeff Hardy. And if I remember right, I think it was Aces and Eights that attacked Hardy that caused the countout. I could be wrong, but anyway. It was pretty much a Samoa Joe squash match. I hope this is really showing that they're going to really run with Samoa Joe in the Bound for Glory series. He's one of the guys, along with AJ Styles, along with Magnus, along with James Storm, that I have no idea why isn't constantly in the main event picture in TNA, but they seem to push these guys away from that and keep them further down the card, as evidenced by the fact that up until a couple weeks ago we didn't really have a storyline for a guy like Samoa Joe or a guy like James Storm. And they were just wandering around, fighting with Aces and Eights here and there, doing random matches here and there. Who knows what they're doing with AJ Styles, but maybe this domination of Joe is the beginning of a solid run in the Bound for Glory series, and maybe even win. Next we have TNA's big free agent signing, which they're keeping mum on whether this is the person that Dixie was talking about or not. Rampage Jackson, Quentin Jackson, which most of you people know from UFC and also the A-Team movie, comes out and he's actually signed a deal with Bellator and TNA, kind of like King Mo's deal. I kind of think he's a little better suited. I watch UFC and I've seen a lot of Rampage. I've seen him a lot in Pride. In Pride, when Pride shut down, I actually thought he was going to go and become a wrestler because his promo style and his interview style is very wrestling related, kind of like Chael Sonnen is now. He toned it down a little bit, but still was pretty over the top in UFC. He's a guy that has a lot of charisma, a lot of character. The only thing I worry about is, and I know this is going to sound a little hypocritical when a couple weeks ago we talked about Titus O'Neil and I was the one defending his age, but Rampage Jackson at being 36 years old to start training and not put full effort into it, have half your time going to Bellator, half your time going to TNA, probably even less than that. I don't know that it's going to work. I don't know that King Mo's going to work. I like to see them both work. I liked Rampage. He's somebody I have cheered for in the past. And I really think he has it for the business. I'd like to see him have 100% effort in it, though. But as Rampage is there, we had Kurt Angle came out and basically said, you know, if you want to go to the top of the wrestling business, I'm the top of the ladder. Could not agree more, Kurt. That he was the perfect guy to come out and do that. Set up whenever Rampage starts, a nice feud for him. Rampage versus Kurt Angle. Rampage doesn't have to learn a lot of wrestling. He can use his amateur wrestling skills, and Kurt Angle can walk him through to a good match. I like the idea. I like him working with Kurt. It works for me very well. Hopefully we get to see that sooner or later. But I enjoyed that segment. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Mike Tyson coming into WWF segment in '97. But Rampage is going to be more of a fixture on the show. Now, coming off of that, let's talk about our question of the week from last week. If you remember, my friend Gary, my co-host, posed the question, do you think them hyping Jeff Hardy's return is going to overshadow the main event at Slammiversary? Now, full disclosure, Slammiversary is come and gone. The main event was what it was. I don't think the Hardy hype came in till today, till this show, till the TNA show on Thursday night. They let him stay in his match. The main event was the main event. Nobody helped Sting, which an angle seems to be going forward on that. I don't want to talk about the spoilers, but they seem to be going forward. If you have Sting and you follow Sting on Twitter, they seem to be going forward with the notion that Sting wasn't helped by anybody and it's aggravating him. So no, I don't think he overshadowed the main event. I think the main event was solid. I think the match that stole the night on the pay-per-view was Taryn Terrell versus Gail Kim. I thought that was tremendous. I think that's one of the best knockouts, Divas matches in a long, long time. Now, the question of the week for this week is, do you see Quentin Rampage Jackson making a significant impact in professional wrestling? Now, when I say significant, the benchmark for MMA guys in wrestling has to be Ken Shamrock, former TNA champion, former WWE Tag Team and Intercontinental champion. So a guy that WWE even had in main event of pay-per-views a few times. A guy that made it to the upper echelon, to the main card, to the main events. That's your benchmark. Do you see Rampage being as successful as him? Do you see him being like Frank Trigg, where he comes in here and there and really isn't nothing from it? Let us know what you think about that. Hit us up on our Facebook, put it on our Twitter, put it down where? Down there in the comments. And we'll talk about that next week with our opinions. Now, coming off of that, we had a 6-man tag match. Kenny King, Austin Aries, and Bobby Roode versus Gunner, James Storm, and Chris Sabin. I thought it was a decent match. I kind of had the feeling, watching it, it was more of a filler match, that they needed to put something out there for us to watch. So they threw these guys together and said, go out there and do some time. It was good. I liked it. Probably the most enjoyable match of the night, other than Joe's squash. But as a match standing, this was a better match. The outcome of the Joe squash was better for me. Now, speaking a few minutes ago, I spoke about the knockouts. We had another, should have been a solid knockouts match with Mickie James versus Taylor Hendricks, which, if you guys remember, she had won gut check at the end of last year. She's been doing some really good stuff in Ohio Valley Wrestling. She has a really hot angle there, a lesbian stalker kind of angle with another girl. I don't want to give too much away if you guys don't watch OVW, because maybe they're going to bring that storyline into TNA, I don't know. But she's someone, she has a unique look. She could go in the ring, and I see a future with her. Unfortunately, she was basically cannon fodder for Mickie James in this match. Hopefully, it's more so that, it's your first night on the main roster, kid. Here's the established star, than what they're going to actually do with it. Now, the main event of the night, we had Bully Ray versus Jeff Hardy in a Stairway to Hammer match. I thought it was okay. I think they held back a bit. It wasn't great, it wasn't horrible. It was a serviceable main event for the show. What can you say? I mean, these kind of matches are so reminiscent of the Vince Russo era. Stairway, something on a pole, climb a ladder, grab a hammer, climb a pole, grab Viagra. All this crap was stuff that he used to do. And to me, it was... these guys, you could do so much more with Bully Ray and Jeff Hardy, in my opinion. But you get what you get. The guys come out, there's a thing, and TNA ends. A decent main event, not the greatest, not the worst. I kind of was looking for better, in my honest opinion. And before we go into the ratings of the show, we got to do our Thunder Lips, a.k.a. Suburban Commando. That one's for you, Paul. Count of the week, we have two Thunder Lips. Hulk Hogan made 2 appearances. I think it's perfect. The last one being when they went to the back, they were wrestling around and Hogan had the hammer, and Hogan was going to hit Bully Ray, but Brooke stopped him. So they're teasing a Brooke turn at this point, which I don't know if I care so much about either way, but it is what it is. I mean, I guess it has some interest. It's something that hasn't been done before. Now, we're going to go right into our ratings for the week. If you've seen the show before, you know we do a 1 to 5 scale, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. Basically, the scale is a 1's a Garrett Bischoff, 2's a Christian York, 3's a James Storm, 4's a Christopher Daniels, 5's a Kurt Angle. I'm going to give this show a James Storm a 3. I thought some of the stuff was good. The Rampage and Kurt Angle interaction. The Hernandez vs. Chavo was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the outcome of Robbie and Samoa Joe. I like seeing Taylor Hendricks on TV. Some of the other stuff was a little bit disappointing. The 6-man tag didn't feel special. It could have been. A little too much segment heavy, for my opinion, on a wrestling show, which probably is why it got knocked down a few, in my opinion. But that's it. It's a middle-of-the-road show to me with a middle-of-the-road main event. And that sways it a lot. If the main event isn't superb, then the show's probably not going to be superb either. But basically, that's all I got to say about this. My name is George Coles, and this has been Heel Heat.